Hello and good morning. Welcome to your St. Thomas School. Welcome to your online classes. This is your English teacher, Siji. Today we are going to revise the letters A to D. So we already learned the letters, how to read them. We learned their sounds and we also learned how to write them, isn't it? So let's start with our letter A. So this is our capital A or the big A, and this is our small letter A, or as we already said, Mama A and the baby A. And what is the sound of this letter? A. So let's see. Do you remember the words? This is A for arrow. This is an arrow. Okay. Now, what is this? This is an apple. A for apple. This is an axe. Axe. This is ant. Ant. Now this is A for arm. Arm. This is an arm. Now let's see how to write them. So you already learned, isn't it? What do? We draw a forward slanting line from the first to the third line. And then from the same point, we draw a backward slanting line to the third line like this. And then we join both the slanting lines in the middle through a sleeping line on the second line. So that's our capital A. Let's do it once again. A forward slanting line from the first to the third line, and then a backward slanting line from the same point at the top to the third line, a backward slanting line. And then we join both the slanting lines through a sleeping line on the middle, that is on the second line. That's our capital A. Now let's see how to write our small letter A. So for that, a forward curve and then a small standing line. So how to draw a small letter A? We just have to draw a small forward curve from the second to the third line. We draw a forward curve and then we join the curves with a small standing line if you want a tail. So that's our small A. So now this is our capital letter B and small letter B, or the big B, small b. Mama B, baby B. And what is the sound of this letter? B. B. So let's see. So this is B for balloon. B, balloon. What is this? B, ball. The ball bouncing. B, ball. What is this? B, bus. B, bus. Would you come to school in a bus? Oh yes, you would love to, isn't it? And what is this? This is a bat. B, bat. Bat. And what is this? Bag. B, bag. You will bring your books to the school in a bag. B, bag. And now let's see how to write our capital letter B. So for that, we start from our first line. That is first to the third line. We draw a standing line and then a backward curve from the first to the second line on the standing line like this. And then another backward curve from the second to the third line that comes back to the standing line like this. Let's do it once again. We draw a standing line from the first to the third line. And then we draw a backward curve from the standing line, that is from the first to the second line. And then again, another backward curve from the second to the third line, third line, making capital B. Now let's see how to write our small letter B. For that, we draw a standing line and then we draw a small backward curve, that is from the second to third line only. That's our small letter B. So we draw a standing line from the first to the third line, a standing line. And then we draw a backward curve from the second to the third line, making our small letter B. Now let's revise how to read this letter. So this is very easy, isn't it? This is our capital letter C, small letter C, big C, small c, or Mama C, and this is our baby C. And what's the sound of this letter? K, K. So let's see if you remember. This is C, K, carrot. C, K, carrot. C, K, cap. C, K, cap. What about this? C, K, car. C, K, car. And this is a cow, isn't it? C, K, cow. So this is a cow. And this is a cat. C, K, cat. Okay. And let's see how to write the capital C first. So very easy. We just have to draw a forward curve from the first to the third line. That's it. We draw a forward curve from the first to the third line. That's it. That makes our capital letter C. Okay. Now let's move on to our small letter C. For that, we draw a forward curve, but a small one, that is from the second to the third one. Let's do it once again. A small forward curve, that is from the second to the third line, making our small letter C. And now this is the time for our letter D. So capital letter D, small letter D, or the big D and the small d. Or as we say, Mama D. This is the daddy D, isn't it? And this is our baby D. So let's see if you read these or not. D, D, donkey. So what's the sound of the letter D? D, D, donkey. Then this is a D, doll. D, D, doll. Then D for D, duck. D, duck. See the duck. Now what about this? D, D, drum. D, drum. And how about this? A dog. D, dog, playing with the ball. D, D, dog. Now let's see how to write our capital letter D. For that, we start by drawing a standing line from the first to the third line. And then we draw a backward curve, a big backward curve, that is from the first to the third line. See, let's do it once again. We draw a standing line from the first to the third line. And then we draw a backward curve from the same point at the top of the standing line to the third line, making a capital letter D. Now let's write our small letter D. So for that, what we have to do? Okay, so we have to draw a standing line, and then we draw a forward curve, this time a forward curve from the standing line. This is our letter D, small letter D. So we draw a standing line again from the first to the third line, and we draw a forward curve from the second to the third line, a small forward curve from the second to the third line, making our small letter D. So I hope you're not confused by these letters, small letter B and D. So as I already told, when you fold your fingers and put your thumbs up and fold them so that your fingers face you. So when you hold your hand like this, you can see the shape, isn't it? So your left hand shows the letter B. Okay, that is with the backward curve. Whereas your right hand folded like this shows your letter D, small letter D with the forward ka. So I hope you will always remember. So dear children, hope you learn the letters. Keep practicing, keep reading, keep writing, keep playing, keep enjoying. Thank you. Stay safe.